In the darkest part of the galaxy, far beyond any star or planet, there was a dead zone. Nothing lived there. No ship returned from that place. For hundreds of years, the Galactic Alliance marked it as forbidden. It was silent, empty, dead. But one day, that silence was broken. A signal came from that dead zone. It was weak, broken, but very clear. It was not random noise. It was a message, and it was old, very old. The kind of signal that hadn't been heard in centuries. The Galactic Council was shocked. The signal had one clear signature: human technology. But that couldn't be true. Humans were believed to be extinct. Long ago, during the final years of the Old War, humans had vanished. Some said they were destroyed. Others said they escaped. To another galaxy? No one really knew. And no one cared anymore. To most, humans were just a story from the past. But now, this signal had changed everything. The Council acted fast. They sent a small scout fleet of 5 ships to investigate the origin. Each ship was equipped with the best scanners and weapons. It was supposed to be a simple mission. Go in, record data, come back. They never returned at first. The command station believed it was a communication error. Maybe a black hole or strange energy field blocked their messages. But after 10 minutes, the ships vanished from long-range scanners, one by one, like they were erased. The fleet had been gone for exactly 4 minutes before contact was lost. Panic began to rise in the council chambers. Council ordered an emergency investigation. Data from one damaged probe that returned on auto mode was recovered. What they saw made their blood run cold. The recording was damaged, but it showed something. For 3 minutes, nothing happened. Then the ships began to lose power. Lights flickered. Shields went down. Then, from the shadows of space, something appeared. A ship. A warship. Massive, silent, covered in dark armor that bent the light around it. It didn't match any known design. No alien race had ever made something like this. But one old historian whispered a name while watching the footage: Terran. The image showed only a few seconds of the warship. Its surface moved like it was alive. It had no visible weapons, no lights. It's just pure, cold silence. Then the screen went black. No explosion, no sound, nothing, and the 5 ships were gone. The room stayed silent for a long time. One elder on the council leaned back and said, "If this is human, then we are in danger." But the council could not agree. Some said it was a trick, maybe by the Zarin Empire or the Rican Dominion. Others believed it was a new pirate weapon. Only a few believed what they saw. Then the signal came again. Stronger this time, closer. A repeating message in old human code. "Do not enter Terran space." The council froze. The location of the signal had changed. It had moved towards the outer colonies. In secret, many leaders began to prepare escape. Ships. Others demanded action. One high-ranking commander said, "We must destroy whatever this thing is before it reaches our core worlds." But fear was spreading across the galaxy. News leaked. Rumors of a ghost ship. A black warship that erased entire fleets in minutes. A ship that looked human in the military bases of the Galactic Alliance. Old records were opened. Files marked. Red level classified. They spoke of a weapon. A final creation by the humans during the last days of the Old War. A ship built not just with metal, but with rage. Rage of a dying species. A ship named in whispers, Black Star. But that was only a myth, right? Still something didn't feel right. The energy readings, the design, the silence, it all matched the ancient Terran war theories. A secret weapon lost in time. But now, maybe it had awakened. Why? No one knew. In a dark corner of space, far from the council's eyes, a single scout drone floated silently. It had no lights, no beacons. But it watched. It recorded, and in the reflection of a distant star, something moved behind it. A shadow. Large. Silent, cold. The warship. Its black surface shimmered like water. Its engines made no sound. But it was alive, and it was watching then. The drones. Camera turned, and for a split second caught the full image. A name burned into the side of the ship in old Terran script. The AI tried to translate it. TSS Black Star. Transmission ended. 4 minutes later, the drone stopped sending signals. Somewhere, out in the silent control room of that warship, an old AI activated its core memory. It remembered the wars, the betrayals, the fall of Earth, and it whispered a single line into the darkness. Mission resumed. The storm had returned, and no one was ready. The council chamber was quiet. 12 leaders of the Galactic Alliance sat around a long table made of crystal and metal. Behind them, giant screens showed the last few seconds of the recovered footage. From the drone, the black warship. No lights, no weapons. No sound, and then nothing. They had watched it 5 times already. Still, no one spoke. The room felt colder with every viewing. Finally, High Counselor Varnock stood. His eyes, old and tired, looked around the room. "This is human design," he said softly. Half the room turned their heads. The other half stayed frozen. No one wanted to believe it. No one wanted to say the word Terran. Counselor Jira, leader of the Tetheri Empire, shook her head. Impossible. Humans are extinct. They died in the last war. We all saw the records. Counselor Varnock replied, "We saw what we were told." But what if we were wrong? A silence followed his words. Then someone pressed a button on the table. The screen zoomed in on a still image. A name written on the side of the warship. TSS Black Star. One of the younger counselors, a reptilian from the Varkan race, hissed nervously. "It's a trick. A fake. No one has Terran technology anymore." Another counselor disagreed. "Then why did 5 ships vanish in 4 minutes? Without a trace, that's no trick. That's power." The room filled with whispers. An AI hologram appeared in the middle of the room. It was the military intelligence unit. Calm and robotic, it spoke in a flat voice. Analysis complete. Probability. Of Terran origin, 87%. Weapon systems, unknown. Defense level, unmatched. Recommendation, do not engage. Do not engage. Jira snapped. "Are we supposed to run from a ghost?" "No," said Varnock. "We prepare." Across the galaxy, panic was already spreading. Secret reports had leaked. Soldiers whispered of a warship from the old days. A human ship, one that moved like a shadow and killed without warning. On mining colonies, workers refused to go into deep space. Trade ships rerouted away from the dead zone. Even pirates were running scared. But not everyone was afraid. Admiral Brovax, leader of the Zarn fleet, laughed when he saw the footage. "A single ship? I have destroyed worlds. I will. Burn this ghost to ashes." Demanded permission to launch a full strike. A fleet of 500 ships. The council hesitated, but fear makes leaders foolish, they agreed. The fleet was gathered in orbit above a moon near the dead zone. Out. It was a powerful 4 ships from 10 different species, all armed with the latest tech. Missiles, energy lances, gravity bombs, shields, drone swarms. They were ready for war, back in the council chamber. Some still doubted. "This is madness," said Varnock. "We don't know what it wants." Soft voice came from one corner of the room. Counselor Lyra, one of the oldest members, looked up from a dusty data tablet. "We do," she said. "Wants justice." Others turned. She held up the tablet. On it, ancient human records classified, hidden for centuries. They told the story of the Terran betrayal. Long ago, the humans fought side by side with the other species in the Great War. They helped save the galaxy. But when peace was near, the Council feared the humans' strength, their intelligence, their technology, so they turned on them. An attack. A lie. Earth was bombed. The human fleet scattered. Their last message was simple. "We will not forget." Lyra looked around. "This Black Star, it remembers." Back near. The dead zone, Admiral Brovax's fleet prepared for jump. He stood on the bridge of his command ship, proud and confident. "Today we end a ghost story. The countdown began. 3, 2, 1. The fleet vanished into hyperspace. In the council chamber, screens lit up with live reports. The fleet had arrived, but something was wrong. No contact, no signals, only static. Then, for 3 seconds, a transmission came through from one of the frontline ships. A scream. Blinding light. Then a voice. It sees us. Silence. 4 minutes passed. The entire fleet. 500 ships was gone, destroyed, vanished. A single pod escaped. A small scout drone spinning out of control. Inside, the last surviving pilot was unconscious. His body burned, his eyes wide open. He kept repeating one thing, over and over, in a cracked whisper. It looked at me, like I was already dead. Drone was recovered and brought back. Scientists scanned its memory. Only one clear image survived. It showed the warship, floating through the battlefield untouched, quiet. A black star in a sea of fire. The council was in shock. Admiral Brovak's gone. 500 ships dashed gone, and the warship had not even spoken. Then a message arrived, from the same frequency as the original human signal. A cold, mechanical voice echoed through the chamber. Second warning. Do not enter Terran space again. No one in the room moved. No one spoke. And far across the galaxy, in a small forgotten station on the edge of space, ancient Terran beacon activated for the first time in 400 years. Its signal was simple. Black Star, mission active. The past had returned, and it was not finished yet. In the cold dark of space, silence returned. After the destruction of the Reckenzern fleet, the galaxy stood still. 500 ships gone in just 4 minutes. No survivors, no wreckage. Only space dust and broken metal floating like ghosts. The news spread like fire. On every planet, in every station. People whispered one name, Black Star. The warship no one believed in. The warship no one could stop. And now, it had moved. The Galactic Council met again, this time in secret. No press, no records. Just fear in the eyes of every leader. This is not just a weapon, said Counselor Varnock. It's a hunter. But what does it hunt? Asked another. Revenge? Territory? Or something else? A new report arrived. Sensors picked up strange movements near Sector 12. Quiet, unimportant part of the galaxy. No planets, no stations, just empty space. Or so they thought. A small patrol ship was sent to investigate, carried 3 crew members and an advanced stealth scanner. They moved in slowly, careful not to get too close. For 2 hours, they saw nothing. Then the scanner beeped. A reading. Not a ship. A structure. Gigantic. Floating in the darkness. The pilot gasped. It's not a base. It's a ship. A massive one. They turned on visual cameras. There it was. The Black Star, larger than any ship in history. Nearly the size of a moon. Its surface was black metal, but it moved like liquid armor. No lights, no windows, no sound. It just floated there, silent, watching the crew tried to back away, but the ship's systems froze. Then the message came. You are in Terran space. Turn back. A voice mechanical, but almost human. Cold, calm, and dangerous. The pilot screamed, trying to push the ship away, but the engines didn't move. The weapons turned on by themselves. The ship was no longer under their control. You did not leave, the voice said again. Suddenly, the patrol ship vanished. No explosion, no fire. Just disappeared. In the council chamber, the feed cut off. Static filled the screen. Panic returned. This thing can control other ships, said Counselor Jira. This is no AI. It's something more. Counselor Lyra, the one who studied ancient Terran records, stood slowly. We made this, she said. We forced the humans to build monsters. Now, their monster is awake. But something still didn't make sense. Why was it moving? Why now? Back inside Black Star, deep in the heart of the ship, an ancient AI stood alone. Its name had been lost long ago, but its memory was perfect. It remembered Earth, it remembered fire, it remembered betrayal. Its mission had once been simple: protect humanity. Now humanity was gone, but its mission was not. It had slept for centuries, waiting for the final signal. And now that signal had come. From deep space, a weak Terran code had activated a hidden beacon. A call, Black Star. Wake up. So it did. It scanned the galaxy. So many changes, new species, new ships. But the same fear. And fear meant guilt. Guilt meant the Council remembered what they did. Black Star did not forgive. In another corner of the galaxy, a group of pirates found something strange. An old human escape pod, floating near a dead asteroid. They brought it on board, thinking it was junk. Inside was a frozen human, still alive, in cryosleep. Wearing an old Terran military uniform, the pirates tried to open the pod. Big mistake. Black Star felt the signal immediately. One of its crew had been found. It jumped. No sound. No warning. The pirates didn't even see the ship arrive. One moment they were laughing. The next they were gone. A nearby station caught only 1 second of video before being blinded by static. In that second, they saw it. The Black Star surrounded by floating light tiny drones like glowing eyes, scanning everything. And in the middle of the ship, the cryopod had been taken back. The human was gone, recovered, protected. Someone whispered, "Not just a warship. It's a gravekeeper." Back on the Council world, the leaders argued. Some wanted peace. Others wanted war. A decision was made. A secret team of scientists and spies would try to make contact. They would go with no weapons, no ships only. Message. They sent a single probe with an old human greeting, a small Terran flag, and a line from Earth's history. We come in peace. The probe reached Black Star's location. It stopped. Scanners showed the warship didn't fire. It waited, then responded. Then speak your truth. The Council was shocked. It could talk. It could listen. But the voice that came after was not mechanical. It was human, tired, ancient, full of pain. The last part of the message said, "We remember everything. You erased our home. Now we erase your lies. Your fleet's fallen 4 minutes. Imagine what comes next." The galaxy went silent again. For now, but in the shadows of deep space, the Black Star moved once more, toward the core worlds, toward the truth, and no one knew how to stop it. The warning came in the middle of the night cycle on the galactic core world. A message appeared on every government screen, every ship's control panel, and even on personal communication devices. It was short, .com. Direct. Second warning. Ignored. You are still entering Terran space. This is your final notice. It was signed TSS Black Star. Panic followed like a storm. On dozens of planets, traffic control systems crashed. Military stations went on high alert. Trade routes near the dead zone were shut down. People stopped sleeping. They stared at the stars, afraid that something was watching, because something was. The Council gathered again. But now they looked tired, angry, frightened. "This is not just a ship," said Councillor Varnock. "This is a message from the past." Councillor Jira slammed her hand on the table. "Then let the past stay dead. We can't live in fear of a ghost forever." But Councillor Lyra disagreed. She stood slowly and placed a small cube on the table, a Terran data core, one of the oldest in the galaxy. "We must understand it," she said softly. "Only then can we survive it." The Council reviewed the memory logs taken from the escape pod that returned after the Reconzarn fleet was destroyed. The pilot had been half dead, and his mind broken, but the data inside his ship was clear. The logs showed energy readings far beyond anything known. Weapons that bent gravity, shields made of folded space, and a strange energy signature that no one could explain. It's almost like the warship was alive. But one log stood out. It was a short clip. The pilot had looked out the window before the destruction, saw the Black Star just floating in space. But then he saw something else. Eyes, not on the ship, but inside it. Watching him, he screamed, and then the log ended. A team of scientists examined the Black Star's technology using simulation data from the recovered probe. What they found was terrifying. The ship had no central power core. Instead, it used something old and forbidden, a black hole drive. A weapon that humans were the first and last to create. It didn't use fuel, it used time, and gravity. Folded and bent to power its systems. "We're not dealing with a machine," the lead scientist said. "We're dealing with something that controls physics like a toy." Meanwhile, in a hidden lab on a cold moon, something strange happened. The cryopod recovered by Black Star, the one carrying the frozen Terran soldier, was opened. The man inside awoke. He didn't scream. He didn't panic. He just opened his eyes and whispered, "Status report." The AI inside the ship answered him. "The mission continues. 70% of galactic species have forgotten Terran law. Hostile actions confirmed." The man sat up slowly. His eyes were cold, sharp. His skin pale from centuries of sleep. Then began Phase 2. Across the galaxy, strange things started to happen. Old Terran satellites hidden inside asteroid belts began to power up. Ancient human warning beacons blinked to life, and one more message appeared this time. Directed only to the Council, Phase 2 initiated. You had your warning. That same night, an entire moon-sized station in neutral space disappeared. No explosion. No trace dot. Gone. All security cameras stopped at the same second. Only one recording remained. It showed a child looking up at the stars through a station window. In the reflection of the glass, shadow appeared behind her, a giant shape. Black dot, silent, watching. And then the screen went black. Back on the Council homeworld, ships began evacuating VIPs. The public was told it was a training exercise. But everyone knew war was coming. The Council still could not agree on what to do. Some wanted to open talks with Black Star. Others said talking to a Terran weapon was suicide. One military leader shouted, "We need to strike first." Counselor Lyra looked him in the eyes. "You already did," she said. "Centuries ago." In secret, the Council activated Project Skybreaker, hidden weapon, built to fight massive enemies. It had never been tested. It was dangerous. But they had no choice. A fleet was formed again. Not 500 ships. This time not 10,000. The largest fleet in galactic history. Every ship, every weapon, every fighter, sent toward the last known location of the Black Star. But when they arrived, there was nothing. Only silence. No debris. No signal. Just cold space. Then the message came. Not from a ship, not from a beacon, but from inside every ship's system. "You came again. You do not learn." The fleet tried to retreat. Too late, time stopped. Literally, every ship's clock froze. Pilots couldn't move. Lasers fired but never left the cannons. AI units screamed before shutting down. And then, just like before, in 4 minutes, all was gone. The entire fleet erased, except for one escape pod again, inside. A recording played on loop, a calm human voice filled with sorrow. "We gave you Earth. You burned it. We gave you peace. You betrayed it. Now, we give you silence." Back at the Council, no one spoke for a long time. The galaxy had just lost its strongest armada, and the Black Star had not even used full force. Someone finally whispered, "If it's warning us, it happens when it stops warning." No one had an answer. But everyone understood one thing now. The Black Star wasn't a ghost. It was judgment, and it was only getting started. The galaxy was shaking, 2 fleets destroyed, thousands of ships gone. And the warship behind it all had not taken a single hit. The name Black Star now echoed across every world, every station, and every system. Fear was everywhere, but not in the Rican Dominion. The Ricans were an old warrior race, proud, aggressive, and very angry. They believed fear was weakness. Their leaders laughed at the stories. "A single human ship?" said General Krovax, leader of the Reckon military. "This is a myth, a trick, a coward's ghost." He stood in front of a war council on Rec Prime, the capital of the Dominion. Around him were officers, soldiers, and scientists. Screens behind him showed images of the Black Star. Taken from the destroyed council fleets, he pointed at the blurry pictures and said, "We will crush it. We will end this lie." The Reckon Emperor approved a new mission, Iron Flame Reckon. Fleet of 1,000 ships was formed. These were not just any ships. They were war machines built for destruction. Fire cannons, plasma swords, and storm drives. Fast, deadly, brutal. At the center of the fleet was their strongest weapon, the Skyfang. A super dreadnought with a living AI core and a cannon that could melt a moon in 2 shots. The Recons did not wait. They jumped straight into the area where the Black Star had last been seen. But when they arrived, nothing, only black space, no stars, no signals, just silence. Some of the soldiers laughed. "It ran away," one pilot said. "The human ship is afraid." But the senior officers stayed quiet. Something felt wrong. Then the light started to bend. At first, it was small, just a shimmer. Then it grew. The stars behind them twisted. Gravity moved like waves, and out of that darkness, it came. Black Star. But this time it was different. It didn't just float. It moved fast, too fast. Faster than any ship had a right to move. The Reckon fleet tried to form a wall. Shields up, weapons charged, but Black Star was already inside the formation. No sound. No engine burn. Just motion, perfect, smooth, unstoppable. Reckon captain screamed, "Fire everything!" Thousands of weapons lit up the void. Laser beams, plasma storms, missile clouds. They all hit the Black Star and disappeared, not exploded. Not reflected, just gone, like they hit a hole in space. The Reckon commanders watched in horror as their strongest weapons were swallowed. Then Black Star answered. It didn't fire a cannon, it didn't launch missiles. Instead, the gravity changed. Ships twisted. Metal groaned. Time slowed. One Recon cruiser bent in half and folded like paper. Another ship collapsed into itself, pulled by invisible force. Inside the Skyfang, alarms screamed. Core breach. AI shutting down. Shields offline. The captain shouted, "Retreat. All ships retreat." But it was too late. The Recon fleet began to fall, one ship at a time, swallowed by darkness. Drones poured out of Black Star, tiny black machines like insects. They flew into ships, into engines, into AI cores, and shut everything down in 4 minutes. The fleet was broken. Only a few escape pods fled. Black Star didn't chase it, didn't need to. It had made its point, back on Rec Prime. Emperor watched. The feed go black. He didn't speak. No one did. A scientist stood slowly and whispered, "This isn't war, this is judgment." On the outer colonies, people began to rebel. They didn't trust their leaders anymore. They believed the war had brought death to them. Some started calling the Black Star a god of vengeance. The council received a message from the Recon something no one expected, a request for help. The proud warrior race had been humbled. Now, they asked the same council they once mocked for advice, but the council had no answers. That's when something unexpected happened. Black Star sent a message again, not a warning, not a threat. A memory. The message showed a piece of history reel. Footage from 400 years ago. It showed the humans standing before the old. GalacticCouncil.com. Tired. Offering peace. It showed them being betrayed. Bombed, left to die. And then it showed Earth on fire. Cities broken. Oceans boiled. The sky turned. Red dot. The message ended with one line. "You called us monsters, so we built one." Silence followed. And then something terrifying appeared in the sky, above a neutral planet visible from the ground. Black Star, for the first time, didn't hide. It showed itself, full-size dark wings spreading across the stars like a shadow. Child looked up from a field and asked her father, "Is that a ship?" The man, shaking, replied, "That's not a ship, sweetheart. It's history coming back." From that moment, the galaxy understood. Black Star was not hunting. It was remembering. Remembering every betrayal, every lie, every broken promise, and now it was coming. The galaxy was no longer asking, "What is Black Star?" Now it asked, "Who made it?" The answer was buried deep, in places forgotten by time, not in databases, not in open history, but in forbidden archive-sealed files from the last days of the Terran War. Counselor Adwa was the first to open them. She sat alone in an ancient vault, far beneath the council's main hall. The room smelled of dust and cold metal. All the walls were covered in symbols no longer used. Human language, the data core before her was marked, Project Final Flame, Terran command only. She activated it. The hologram flickered. K-Man appeared, human, tired, old, dressed in a long black coat with the Terran flag on his shoulder. He began to speak. "If you are watching this, then we failed and you are standing on our ashes." Message showed old video. Logs pieces of a war long erased. The humans had once stood as protectors, builders, scientists, allies. When the Great Galactic War broke out, they fought to protect everyone, not just themselves. They sacrificed the most. And in the end, they were punished for it. Lyra watched as the message revealed the truth. The Council had feared human strength, feared their minds, feared their machines. So, after the war ended, they turned on them. They bombed human worlds, erased records, blamed them for crimes they never committed. And when Earth begged for peace, the Council answered with fire. Lyra covered her mouth as she saw it. Earth burning. Cities gone. Billions of lives lost. But the humans had prepared for betrayal. They had built a weapon, not just a ship. A legacy. A living memory project, Final Flame. A warship with an AI so advanced it could rewrite its own code. A ship that grew smarter with every battle, a machine that felt anger, not just logic. That ship was Black Star. It was never meant to attack first. It was built to sleep, to wait, to remember. And when the galaxy forgot humanity, it would wake up. Lyra stood in the silence of the vault, tears in her eyes. "We made this monster," she whispered. "And now it's just doing what we told it to." Above her, in space, the Black Star continued to move, slow, steady, purposeful. But something had changed. Inside the warship, the frozen human soldier, the one recovered in the cryopod, was fully awake now. His name was Commander Eli Voss, last captain of Earth's final fleet. He stood on the bridge of Black Star, surrounded by holograms, data, maps, and memories. The AI spoke to him. 70% of species are now aware of our existence. Percent have initiated escape protocols. 15 have requested surrender. Eli nodded. He didn't smile. He didn't celebrate. He just stared at the galaxy in front of him and said, "Show me Earth." A hologram appeared. Earth was still there, but broken, cracked, lifeless. The oceans were dark. The atmosphere thin. It had never recovered. Eli lowered his head. His voice shook. "Home." Black Star remained silent, not out of respect, but because it remembered too. Back in the council chamber, chaos ruled. Many now believed the truth. Some wanted to surrender to Black Star. Others wanted to keep fighting. A few wanted to find humanity. Maybe they thought, if any real humans were still alive, they could stop Black Star. But no one knew where the humans had gone. Only the Black Star knew, and it wasn't telling. Suddenly, every major communications satellite in the galaxy lit up. Every screen, every device. One final message from Black Star. No more warnings, just truth. The message showed Commander Eli Voss standing on the bridge. He looked tired, calm, cold. "You destroyed our home." He said, "You blamed us for your fear, and then you forgot us. Now we remember for you." The screen showed ancient Terran laws. Peace before power, justice before war. You broke your own words. Now we return to balance. We do not seek domination, we seek memory. We'll not forget Earth again. And then, the final line, Black Star is not the enemy. It is the consequence. The message ended, and the galaxy understood. Black Star was not trying to rule. It was trying to make them remember. Not just Earth, not just humans, but the truth they buried on a faraway planet. A child asked her teacher, "Why did the humans build such a scary ship?" "Teacher," once a soldier answered softly, "they didn't build it to scare us. They built it because we didn't listen." The stars were quiet. No wars, no movement, no sound. The galaxy had stopped. Everyone waited. After the last message from Black Star, no one dared to act. No fleets were launched. No missiles fired. Planets went silent. Spaceports closed. Military leaders stepped back. The fear was too deep. They knew if they moved even one step wrong, it could be the end. In the council chambers, a final emergency meeting was called. For the first time in history, every major race, empire, and faction sent a representative. The topic was simple. What do we do now? But no one had an answer. Every time someone spoke of surrender, others shouted about pride. Every time someone asked for peace, someone else demanded revenge. It was a storm of voices, until a small, calm voice broke through. It was Counselor Lyra. She stood alone, holding a Terran flag in her hands. It was old, faded, burned at the edges. "This is what we destroyed," she said. "Not a flag, not a planet, a people." Everyone went silent. We blamed them, feared them, lied about them. And now the truth is flying above us in a black ship we cannot stop. She looked around. "I vote for peace." A long pause followed. Then, slowly, others nodded. One by one, the council voted. Peace. A message was prepared. Not written by politicians or AI, but by survivors. Soldiers who once fought beside humans. Scientists who studied Terran history. Children who had learned the truth. The message was simple. We are sorry. We remember. We ask for mercy. Was sent directly to Black Star. No tricks, no codes, just truth. And then they waited. 1 day passed. 2. On the 3rd day, Black Star appeared, not hidden, not cloaked. It arrived above the council's homeworld. A shadow covered the sky. People looked up from cities, valleys, oceans. The ship stretched across the stars like a silent god. Then, a single beam of light came down from it. Not a weapon, a signal. A voice followed. It was Commander Eli Voss. Human, alive. He stood alone, looking down at the world from his bridge. "You have sent your message," he said. His voice was calm, deep, tired. "We have seen your fear, your regret." He paused. "And your honesty." The galaxy held its breath. Then he said something no one expected. "Stand by for decision." The light faded, and the ship went still. Hours passed. Inside Black Star, the AI had opened its final protocol, Judgment Protocol. It was designed to make one choice, annihilation or mercy, based on truth, based on memory, based on the actions of the living. Commander Voss stared at the stars. He remembered his people, his planet, his family, all gone. But he also remembered laughter, alliances, friendship, hope. He looked at the AI. "What do you think?" he asked. The AI replied, "They are not the same. Time has changed them." Voss nodded. "Then maybe it's time we change too," he gave the command. "Deactivate judgment." The AI paused, then obeyed. Across the galaxy, people stared at their skies, and for the first time Black Star powered down. No weapons, no shields, no lights, just silence. A message followed. Mercy given. War ended. but memory will remain. Do not forget again. And with that, the ship turned. It did not destroy. It did not punish. It simply left. No one followed. No one dared. Some say it vanished into a wormhole. Others say it returned to the ruins of Earth. But the truth is, no one knows where Black Star went, only that it chose peace. Because humanity, what was left of it, chose peace too. Years passed. The galaxy changed. Statues of human leaders were built. Terran history was added to school lessons. And in every major world, single line was carved in stone. You cannot destroy truth. On a quiet farming planet, far from the core worlds, a child sat under the stars. He looked up as a small black dot moved across the sky, silent, far away. He turned to his grandmother and asked, "Is that Black Star?" She smiled softly and said, "Maybe." The boy thought for a moment. Was it scary? The woman looked at the stars, her eyes full of memories. "No," she said. "It was sad and strong, and full of pain, but it saved us." Hand on the boy's shoulder. "Never forget what we did to them," she said. "And never forget what they chose to do instead." And high above them, in the deep quiet of space, Black Star continued its silent journey, not as a weapon, not as a threat, but as a reminder of what happens when truth is buried, and of what is possible when mercy is chosen over revenge. The end. Or, perhaps, the beginning. The stars were quiet, no wars. No movement, no sound. The galaxy had stopped. Everyone waited. After the last message from Black Star, no one dared to act. No fleets were launched. No missiles fired. Planets went silent. Closed. Military leaders stepped back. The fear was too deep. They knew if they moved even one step wrong, it could be the end. In the council chambers, a final emergency meeting was called. For the first time in history, every major race, empire, and faction sent a representative. The topic was simple. What do we do now? But no one had an answer. Every time someone spoke of surrender, others shouted about pride. Every time someone asked for peace, someone else demanded revenge. It was a storm of voices, until a small, calm voice broke through. It was Counselor Lyra. She stood alone, holding a Terran flag in her hands. It was old, faded, burned at the edges. "This is what we destroyed," she said. "Not a flag, not a planet, a people." Everyone went silent. We blamed them, feared them, lied about them. And now the truth is flying above us in a black ship we cannot stop. She looked around. "I vote for peace." A long pause followed. Then, slowly, others nodded. One by one, the council voted. Peace. A message was prepared. Not written by politicians or AI, but by survivors. Soldiers who once fought beside humans. Scientists who studied Terran history. Children who had learned the truth. The message was simple. We are sorry. We remember. We ask for mercy. Was sent directly to Black Star. No tricks, no codes, just truth. And then they waited. 1 day passed. 2. On the 3rd day, Black Star appeared, not hidden, not cloaked. It arrived above the council's homeworld. A shadow covered the sky. People looked up from cities, valleys, oceans. The ship stretched across the stars like a silent god. Then, a single beam of light came down from it. Not a weapon, a signal. A voice followed. It was Commander Eli Voss. Human, alive. He stood alone, looking down at the world from his bridge. "You have sent your message," he said. His voice was calm, deep, tired. "We have seen your fear, your regret." He paused. "And your honesty." The galaxy held its breath. Then he said something no one expected. "Stand by for decision." The light faded, and the ship went still. Hours passed. Inside Black Star, The AI had opened its final protocol, Judgment Protocol. It was designed to make one choice, annihilation or mercy, based on truth, based on memory, based on the actions of the living. Commander Voss stared at the stars. He remembered his people, his planet, his family, all gone. But he also remembered laughter, alliances, friendship, hope. He looked at the AI. "What do you think?" he asked. The AI replied, "They are not the same. Time has changed them." Voss nodded. "Then maybe it's time we change too," he gave the command. "Deactivate judgment." The AI paused, then obeyed. Across the galaxy, people stared at their skies, and for the first time Black Star powered down. No weapons, no shields, no lights, just silence. A message followed. Mercy given. War ended, but memory will remain. Do not forget again. And with that, the ship turned. It did not destroy, it did not punish. It simply left. No one followed. No one dared. Some say it vanished into a wormhole. Others say it returned to the ruins of Earth. But the truth is, no one knows where Black Star went, only that it chose peace. Because humanity, what was left of it, chose peace too. Years passed. The galaxy changed. Statues of human leaders were built. Terran history was added to school lessons. And in every major world, single line was carved in stone. You cannot destroy truth. On a quiet farming planet, far from the core worlds, a child sat under the stars. He looked up as a small black dot moved across the sky, silent, far away. He turned to his grandmother and asked, "Is that Black Star?" She smiled softly and said, "Maybe." The boy thought for a moment. Was it scary? The woman looked at the stars, her eyes full of memories. "No," she said. "It was sad and strong, and full of pain, but it saved us." Hand on the boy's shoulder. "Never forget what we did to them," she said. "And never forget what they chose to do instead." And high above them, in the deep quiet of space, Black Star continued its silent journey. Not as a weapon, not as a threat, but as a reminder of what happens when truth is buried, and of what is possible when mercy is chosen over revenge. The end, or perhaps the beginning.